Well, the brief has two guests with very different viewpoints on this issue. Gregory Nojeim favors privacy. He's with the Center for Democracy and Technology. Cedric Leighton favors protection. He's the former deputy director of the National Security Agency for training, after all. And gentlemen, I want to begin at the bottom line. If the most sweeping changes of this advisory group were adopted, accepted by the president, would privacy be guaranteed? Greg?
No, I wouldn't say that privacy will be guaranteed even if all these changes are accepted. Privacy would be promoted somewhat, but some of the changes, many of the changes don't affect a lot of the collection that the NSA does abroad, and a lot of collection that's focused on non-U.S. persons. That means non-Americans who are abroad.
All right, well, we're going to get to that in a moment, more on that, but the same question for you, Cedric, but turned around a little bit. If they accepted all of those recommendations, what effect would it have on our security?
Well, Jim, I think the basic idea is that the security would be impacted pretty substantially. Now, could the NSA do its job without having the bulk collection of phone records? It could. It could do fairly well at it, but it wouldn't be as thorough, and there is a chance that it would miss some of the different things that come up in intelligence collection naturally. So that's part of the problem that we have to wrestle with. We have to really work on determining what the privacy standards are in our country, and also what the intelligence agencies can collect.
Gregory, in all of this, to be clear, and you brought this up, we're talking about how it would affect Americans largely with this advisory group. And I understand that the White House has already taken some action on tapping the phones of foreign leaders. But what about everybody else?
I think the big question for the president is whether he's going to allow for the bulk collection of telephone call records about all the calls made to, from, or within the United States to continue when his own hand-picked review group has said that none of that information has been essential to stopping even one terrorist attack. I think that's the question that the president has to face. The review group said that attacks could be thwarted by using regular authorities that are more targeted on the bad guys, not on everyone else.
But
another recommendation that the review group made was to require that letters issued by the FBI and some other elements of the intelligence community to demand very personal information, like who you emailed and who emailed you and data like that, that those letters ought to be subjected to judicial authorization. I think that also was a very good recommendation.
A very good recommendation, but let's get Cedric's point of view. He knows how it works. Cedric, from an operational standpoint, what does that mean? If I can just press a button and say, I need to know this information, I need to know it now. The difference is I need to get a court order. I need to get someone higher up in order to take some action before anything is going to be known.
Right, exactly. And so the problem that you have from an operational perspective is that if you go in and you require each and every situation to be subjected to a court order, you will have significant delays in being able to pick up information. So the fear within the intelligence community is that you will not have the time, that you will lack the time in order to get the necessary data that you need in order to find the particular bad guy that you're looking for. And that becomes a real problem. From a military operational perspective, as an example, you often do these things in seconds. Now, it doesn't mean that we would collect information on U.S. citizens within seconds. You want really targeted collection, and that's where I agree with some of the recommendations from the Commission. In other words, the ones that really deal with refining the type of process that we use. But if we look at the general technical requirements, if you put a court order in there and you delay the requirement to get that information, you risk losing the person that you're going after, and that could have some serious consequences, both from an intelligence perspective and from a law enforcement perspective if you're going after domestic terrorism.
Gentlemen, as we wrap all of this up, I mean, I think, one of the points that's obvious, do you think this is a healthy debate? Gregory?
Oh, absolutely. We needed to have this debate years ago. Unfortunately, secrecy prevented this debate. The documents that Mr. Snowden leaked have prompted the debate, and I wish it had not been prompted by those leaks. I wish that the NSA and other elements of the intelligence agency had come forward and said, what we want to do is collect records of every phone call made in the United States, and we want to have a debate about that. That didn't happen. Instead, we're having the debate now based on the leak, the disclosure of some of those records.
Cedric, does Edward Snowden get some of the credit here? You know, people have talked about give him amnesty, bring him back. This was the debate we needed.
Well, I think you can certainly say that the debate had to be had, and I agree with Gregory on that part. The one thing that I think is very important is that in addition to, making this debate a possibility and really setting the stage for the debate, there are a lot of other things that he did. So I don't see him as a hero. I see him as doing a lot of damage as well to the whole national security structure. But the debate does need to happen. And the thing that, we all have to keep in mind is that all of the different organizations of government, from the legislative branch, Congress, from the judicial branch, all the way up to the Supreme Court, knew that this was going on, and it was approved. So the NSA wasn't going rogue on anybody, but the basic idea is that the structure, the legal structure, was the one that NSA followed. Now, the question is that the correct legal structure, and should it continue in the way that it has continued up to this point?
That's the bottom line. Who should be deciding for us? I want to thank our guests, Gregory Nojeim as well as Cedric Leighton, for giving us a couple of different perspectives on this, because there is a lot of gray area. Thank you, gentlemen.
My pleasure, Jim. Thank you so much.